Oh dear, what do we have here? Howdy, everybody in YouTube land. And what we have in front of us today is an IBM PS2 Model 30 286. Now, this machine here was the first computer that I could ever use. So, what ended up happening in my life history, you can skip past this if you don't want to hear it, but in my life history, I really didn't know what a computer was until about 96. It was early 96 in fourth grade when I had the Apple IIe, which was basically neglected by that point and not really used. And to me, my child brain kind of picked that one up as it's a toy kid's computer. It reminded me too much of my little VTech pre computer I had at home, right? But it was late 96 in fifth grade when I started to understand what a computer actually was because we had the Power Macintosh 5200 in the back of the classroom. And that's when I used computers for the first time. And it's like, holy crap, I'm addicted to it. But, anyways, so a friend of mine's mom gave me the IBM 5155 fall of that year, but I couldn't really use it because I didn't have any manuals, I didn't have anything with it, and I didn't know what the internet was. It just wasn't a thing, so I didn't know even what to look for, and my parents didn't either because they weren't into computers at all. So I was literally hung out to dry and I was tinkering with it, but I couldn't really do much with it, so I ended up getting torn apart. But Dad saw the interest I had with computers, so by Christmas time of 96, he bought this machine here. Well, this isn't the exact one, but a one like it. So he bought a IBM PS2 Model 30 with the monitor, keyboard, mouse, external 2400 baud Hayes modem, and the Epson RX80 dot matrix printer for like $50 out of the newspaper classifieds. And that was my first computer that I had at home that I could use. And you got the books with it and got the DOS manual. And we ended up getting DOS for Dummies and stuff like that. And I had such a fun time with that machine. I had such a blast. Me and Dad got on BBSs back then. We knew not to download anything over a megabyte because it would take way too long. And of course, Mom always wanted to use the phone, so that just didn't work out. But anyways, I didn't have that computer a month and a half before it died. And the reason why it died is because I got a virus off of a BBS, which killed the hard drive, the boot sector, something. It didn't boot up anymore, right? So I put the DOS floppy disk that it came with in there and it wouldn't read it anymore. It wouldn't read any of my disks anymore, which is, as we know with PS2s today, is not surprising, right? But this was in early 97. And then the rest is history. We got rid of that, and then we got the 386. We had that for a little while until Dad bought the brand new machine in the summer of 97 with Windows 95 and all that, on and on and on it goes. But point is, this particular machine is really special to me for that reason alone. It was my first venture into computing when I was a child. Now, unfortunately, that since that machine's long gone, I ended up picking this one up sometime in 2015. I want to say I got this and the monitor for like $100 or something like that on eBay. But unfortunately, the floppy drive had problems. Ended up not being useful for anything, or I stole it for another product. I can't remember what happened, but the hard drive was missing, completely gone, and the Dallas battery was dead, so I ended up rigging something like that in there to make it work. And then it had this installed in it, which is, I assume this is an upgrade. It's got IBM part numbers on it. It's got an IBM chip. It's got an IBM mod or board, but it's got this Kingston sticker on it. So I don't know if this was licensed by IBM from Kingston or if it was the other way around or what, but I think it's cool. I don't know if this is a 386 or a 486 SLC because I think it's an SLC. So that would tell me it's a 486 maybe. I'm not sure, but anyways, it had that upgrade in there. And it had a full 1 megabyte of RAM too. There's 1 meg of RAM in there. Actually, it might even be 4 megs of RAM. I don't remember. Yeah, I think this is actually 4 megs of RAM that's installed in here. Yeah, that would be right. So it's got a full. This thing was maxed out for what it was, which is why I got it. But it's missing the hard drive. So I experimented around with SCSI back then, and it's just I'm kind of OCD because I'm. This machine has is hits different. It's got a different vibe with me. So I'm trying to keep it as original as I possibly can. And heck, even the knockoffs are all still in there. So I don't even want to put any cards in it and break these knockoffs out. I don't know. I'm weird like that. So, anyways, fast forward a couple of years, somewhere around 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I bought this drive right here. This is an IBM hard drive. I got it from eBay, and I figured, it was advertised as a Model 30 drive. So I buy it, and sure enough, it doesn't fit. It just does not. No. So turns out the Model 50 or 50Z, there was two different versions of that model. The early 50Zs used this hard drive and uses this interface. Okay? But it doesn't fit the Model 30 because IBM, right? However, the later Model 50Zs used the full-on SD drive, microchannel bus, direct bus attachment architecture, which has a much wider blade. So it's a crapshoot if your 50 even has this drive. So once again, I went back onto eBay, and I've been looking for a drive for this for several years, but it's not like consistently. It's off and on. I might look for a little bit, and then I get sidetracked with other projects. Then I look for a little bit, and then the prices are kind of all over the place, and it's driving me nuts. So one finally popped up, so I got it, and this is the correct one. It's the 7568, which has the proper blade. And then you can see the difference. It's 325N versus the 325Q. But guess what? Guess what? So I ordered this one on eBay, and the guy doesn't even pack it properly. And this was a tested working drive before it was shipped. But then he packed it terribly, and the box got crunched in shipping, which absolutely destroyed the drive. So I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. So I took the drive apart because you can I took the board off the drive so I could take the drive apart, and it snapped off the ear on that drive. It literally busted the, let's see, where is it here? It busted this. I tried to glue it back on. Unfortunately, it's too late because if you spin the motor, well, the head's not in the right spot, but you can hear the head rubbing on the motor. You can hear it grinding, and the drive doesn't work. It just throws the 4 blink codes over and over and over again. So what I've learned is the mechanism between these two drives are the same. It's the same exact mechanism. It's identical. So I figured, well, maybe I could do a board swap. Well, yes and no. So I got this drive here, but this is a different one. The one that I bought was this one over here. So I got these two together. So since this one was damaged in shipping, chances are this one probably was too. I figured I would try it anyways. And I swapped the board over, and sure enough, this one has the same exact rubbing sounds. So yeah, that's where we are at the current moment in time. So between these 3 hard drives, I'm hoping to make one of them work. Now, if you look carefully, these are stepper drives, right? So I think it's possible, but I don't know what the microcontroller is going to think, but I think it's possible that I can take, if worse came to worse, take the best 2 platters that don't have any scratches on it, because maybe one of the platters is good while the other one's scratched from the head. So maybe I could take two good platters and put them in one drive with good heads and make a good drive, and then do a new low-level format. You can't do that with a voice coil drive, because if you do that, you're going to have cylinder misalignment, and it won't read the servo tracks anymore, and it's just going to be done. It's not going to work. Now, the stepper drive, in theory, you should be able to, unless the microcontroller is doing funny business. And if it doesn't read right, then maybe it'll throw a code. I don't know. I'm just assuming at this point in time. So, anyways, so I tried this original drive. Like I said, it made some noise, and it would just blink 4 times, pause, blink 4 times, pause, blink 4 times over and over again. I don't know the codes. I can't find any information on it. Now, this particular drive here will actually initialize, I think. So if I plug you in, so this board is just kind of like sitting in here right now. Alright, so we're going to plug you in here. You hear that? That's the head dragging on the platter. So that drive is not long for this world either, but the heads appear to be functional. It's reading the contents on the platter, otherwise it would be giving me a blink code. So that might be a doable effort. I don't know yet. But the bearing is very loud. This one is not nearly as loud, but it won't initialize. It just blinks 4 times. So, yeah, there's the board off of the other mechanism, and it's all Toshiba parts, which is kind of interesting to me. But the board that comes off of this one is all IBM proprietary parts. Plus, these rubber shock mounts are rock hard, so they're not very rubbery or shocky anymore. Anyways, so that's it for the hard drives at the current moment in time. And so we'll have to sort that out later. But the next thing we got to figure out is the floppy drive. So I've got 2 floppy drives here. Neither one of them work, I'm pretty sure. This one has the typical leaky caps on the servo board for the spindle, and the IC is probably bad. I have replacements, but yeah. Also, there are bad and leaking caps in the back here on this board that have to be addressed. So we have that drive, right? But I also have this drive here, which is a Mitsumi or Mitsubishi drive. And this one does not have those caps on the main spindle board, but it does have them up here, which need to be addressed. So it's, at this point, it's literally pick your poison. They're both poisonous, so it doesn't matter. You just pick your poison. So I might go with this drive and recap that one and see if it works. And if not, then go to that drive. Because I think one of these drives came from my IBM Model 25, and the drive that was in here went in it. I think that's what happened. Because there's the, yeah. So, okay. But before I even do any of that, what I want to do is I want to pull this power supply apart. Even though you saw it working fine, I want to pull this power supply apart, and I want to check for reefers. And, because, yeah, we don't need any reefer smoke filling this room. But also, it's got that, I want to check for leaking caps, but it's also got that stupid circuit glue that turns brown and conductive. So I need to inspect that and see if I can't get that out of there. Because the last thing I want to have happen is this power supply blow up. Because it's not like it's getting easier to find the replacements, right? Also, this pigtail was hacked in at one point to put in an ordinary hard drive. So we have that we're dealing with. But yeah, alright. So that's what we got going on. So without further ado, let's get this power supply out and let's take a look at it and see what we got going on. Oh yeah, I did want to clarify something on the hard drive. So this is the one I've had for a few years now, but the interface connector is incorrect. But I needed this one. But because when I bought this one, I bought them together with this one. So these came as a pair. That's why I tried. That's why I tried this one first, because this one was dead. Of course it was, because of the scar and the platter. Um, but I wanted to try this one first in case I potentially ruined something with the head or something, like if there's a slight bit of incompatibility between the mechanisms, because they look the same, but that doesn't mean they're exactly the same, right? So, because of that reason alone, in case I killed something, I didn't ruin the one that could potentially be good. And it may not be any good, I don't know. But just in case, right? So, the fact that this does try to initialize without a blink code tells me that this method would actually work. And there goes the case. Yeah, I don't have much room in these parts. So, that's where we're at. So I could probably just take this board and move over to that one and be fine. I don't know if that mechanism's any good either, because I don't have a machine to plug that into. Yeah, so that's what we got going on with this hard drive debacle at the moment. I don't know what they made these circuit boards out of, but I'm noticing the planar is starting to delaminate. See the light spots? That's the planar delaminating. So the glue is starting to come apart. That's not good. First time I've actually seen that, but that's now a new thing we need to worry about when it comes to age. Yeah. Circuit board. Yeah, I mean, these are very early multi-layer boards, so that makes me wonder if the, yeah, that's going to start breaking electrical connections in the board. I'm not happy about that. So I don't know. That brings up a lot of questions. How long is this board going to last before it starts developing problems? So, like, I wonder if we're going to have to reverse engineer the board and make reloaded boards for these to keep them going. Just move the chips over. Crap. Anyways, no sense in worrying about what we can't fix, so instead we should just worry about what we can. So let's take a peek inside here, finally. Now, I've seen security Torx, but security Phillips, that's a new one for me. Do I even have that? Let me go grab the Dremel. I'll just Dremel it out. No, I ain't gonna do that. Not yet, anyways. So, I don't know if I actually have. They're on the fan, too. See, that's cursed. Why? Alright, well, let's see. Because I don't know if I actually have. Really? Hang on. Well, let's see. I have plenty of security Torx. But security Phillips is not something I have. Yikes. No, but I got everything else. I got these wings. I got, yeah, that's the first time I've ever encountered a security Phillips bit. Okay, well, just like the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, we're going to have to abuse it. So, let's see if I can't get that out of there. Yeah. Yeah, I beat the crap out of this screw to get that one out without dremeling it. But I got it out. Before I started beating on this one, I did try something. My spade bit. That little screw bit kit has a spade bit, and guess what? It fits. So, I'm going to try that one. Well, I got the lid off, and, well, there's some good news and bad news. Well, the good news is they didn't use any reefas, so props to IBM for that one. But the bad news is they used this crappy glue that's all going to have to come off. I don't see any evidence of leakification either. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. There's 5 of those tall ones. I don't know if I have any of that stuff on hand. I'll have to look and see. I will say that it appears there's some bad solder joints going on in there, like right there. So I'm going to have to check out the rest of this power supply. So props to IBM Delta not using reefas. So I don't need to perform a reefaectomy. It's aluminum tape. It's kind of nasty. And then the fact it's sticking still after all of these years is kind of amazing to me. Because thinking back, this machine was made in '88 and I got it in '96. So that means it was what, 8 years old? So the machine was only 8 years old when I was first using it, and it's now like 30, over 30. Crazy how time flies. But hell, back in the '90s, 8 years in computer years was huge compared to 8 years today. Oh, there you are, you little sucker. I see you. Another security screw. That little wing tip works really, really well for these. Didn't have a security Phillips, but I had a security wing. It's like the ones you use on VCRs, guideposts, and things. Alright. And usual disclaimer applies. Don't go poking in power supplies unless you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, then you better learn really quickly, because there's not many people that know how to fix this stuff. Which is why I do these videos. Nothing out of the ordinary yet. Well, I want to blow this thing out because it's kind of nasty, and then I want to continue taking this thing apart, I think. Really, the only thing that gets this stuff off is lots of heat. So I use lots of heat, and I scrape and I pick and just get it up off the board. When it starts turning black is when it gets corrosive and conductive, but that's also when it starts to let loose. So that's the only way to get that crap out of there. So I got that out, and then I want to get this out. And while I have the board out, I'm just going to change those capacitors as they are, because I might as well. But yeah, look at this. It's disgusting, and it does not want to come off. And there's a cap there that's just buried in the crap. So yeah, the only way to get that off, let's see, what value is that? Because I wonder if I have to replace it. And that's a 1 nanofarad, 102. So yeah, I gotta get all this crap off because it will turn brown. And what I've noticed is when it starts to turn brown and black, it does it because of heat, as we can see. And as the more hours that are on the power supply, the more this will turn color. And when it does is when it becomes corrosive and problematic. So yeah, you gotta get this crap off of there, or it's not going to work. And it's stinking up the house, and I guarantee it's going to set that smoke detector off here in a minute. So all right, let's just keep plugging forward, get all this crap out of here. Yeah, I absolutely hate this glue. I've been scratching at it. It's nasty. None of these have shown any signs of leakage, but I'm replacing them anyways. These may have came out just before the whole leak stuff started. And this is, let's see, 1988 SXC series. And this is so 88 and SRXC series. So these are pretty good. I've seen these in the 4000s power supply. So, anyway, so yeah, this glue is just, I hate this crap. But I'm changing them anyways because this is that one machine that I really care about, and I'm trying to make it as good as I can. Alright, well that's done. I got all the caps in there. Modern caps are so much smaller than older ones. But they're all in there now. I got that out of the way. I got that wretched glue out of the way. Did the best I could here. Also put new caps in it. The only thing left to do now is I need to fix this jack because it's broken. I don't know how it got broke, but it got broke. So that's got to be fixed next. And I got to mix up some epoxy and see if I can't get that glued back together. And then after that, I got to clean this fan. I tell you, that glue is some nasty stuff. Now, I'm waiting for the epoxy to cure. I had to mix some of this epoxy up. Now, this plastic weld, JB Weld, whatever it's called, that is some interesting consistency for epoxy. I'm just going to leave it there, and then you all can use your own imagination. Anyways, so that's all clamped on there now, and I'm just waiting for that to dry up, which I'm going to gauge that based on the consistency of this, because I mixed it up at the same time, obviously. So when this one gets hard, I know that this is hard and I can safely use it. So there we go. Now at this point, I've pretty much done all I can do, but I am going to clean all of this mess up. So I got done cleaning the fan, and this fan is bad too because it only runs for a little bit and quits. So like I can power it up. Well, now it's not even wanting to run. You can see it jump, but yeah, it's bad. So unfortunately, this fan is not going to work. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. And it might have always done this. I don't exactly know, really. But, wow, that magnet's strong. It won't. Yeah, I popped the clip off so I can take a look inside and see if I see anything. And it's controlled by a single chip. So, see, it just, yeah. It's done. I need another fan. Alright, so I went into my stash of fans, and there's a reason why I don't throw anything away. And I have another one. This thing kicks out some air. And it pulls slightly less current than that one does. Now, it probably won't last as long as that one, but this one is from 2000 and, well, 04 maybe. So, anyways, that's what I got. That's going to have to work because that one is dead. Alright, we are ready for testing. I went ahead and buttoned it all back up. So, here we go. So, I either screwed that up somehow or that's not enough of a load. Because, yeah, it's not... Well, I guess I have to put it back in the machine and hope. Alright, well, let's try again. Yay! Now I gotta check for voltage and make sure everything is in spec, which is easily done. All I gotta do is drop everything in the process because I just got too much crap around here and this room is too small. Anyways, enough ranting. Okay. So let us let's check the 12 volt source. Dead on. Let's check the 5 volt source. Dead on. Alright, we're good. Good enough. Alright, so now we can put this screws back in here and we can move on. Now that the power supply is out of the way, the next thing we got to look at is this. So, first thing I got to do is get this bottom cover thingamajig off, which uses these stupid infamous flathead screws because IBM had to be different back then. Because that is what IBM was all about, is doing their own thing and being different. Because if anybody that knows the history knows that after the PC was cloned to death, they tried to go proprietary, and well, you see how well that worked out for them. Now, food for thought is, think about the Digital Millennium Copyright Act and what provisions it has in today and how problematic that is for, right to repair and blah, 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 blah. Just think about it for a second. If the Digital Millennium Copyright Act existed when the PC came out, we wouldn't have the clones we have today, because the DMCA actually prevents that kind of thing from happening. But anyways, enough political and more repair. Alright, let's see. What do we have? This floppy drive, his operability is unknown. I don't know if it works. Chances are it probably does not. That's been out before. This thing's been apart before. Although I'm not surprised. But we do need to fix those caps. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this off, at least not without potentially making it worse, because that's what we need to do, is to make it worse, right? So, yeah. There we go. Okay. It's got a Rome semiconductor, it's got a Mitsubishi chip, and a Toshiba, I think. Lots of chips. Alright, so what do we have? 10 microfarads, 16 volts. So we need 10 UF, 16 volts, which I don't think I have surface mount versions of those, but I'm pretty sure I have through-hole electrolytics, which will work there. And those. Alright, so let's get those out and changed out. And there we go. I went ahead and replaced those two caps. They're out of there now. The old ones are over there. They stink like fish, of course. Cables are plugged back in. I went ahead and cleaned the rail here, cleaned the heads, cleaned the gear. I just got to put a little bit of grease on it, and then that's it. It can't be that simple, can it? Well, only one way to find out. Does it work or does it not? Looks like it's got a track 0 adjustment here too. So that's kind of neat. So, alright, well, let's get this at least temporarily back in there. I'm not going to put it all back together yet. I'm just going to slide it in there and see if it works, because I don't know if it's going to work yet or not. I got to get the CPU in there, and I got to get some batteries in that container, get all this cleared out, and yeah, get some kind of a setup here to test everything. Alright, so here we go. Got the processor back in, the real-time clock. I don't have batteries in it yet. So let's see. Comes on. No blows. Explosions. There we go. It's counting RAM. Let's grab a floppy disk and throw it in here. So got a diskette in there. Let's see. Counting up ramifications. It's a lot of RAM, so it's going to take a minute. Nope, can't skip it. That's why I never liked the IBM BIOS. You can't skip the RAM count, because it's not exactly fast on a machine like this. Let's see what the floppy drive does. F1. Nope. Floppy drive's no good. I didn't figure. Who knows why? Yeah, it's hard to say why. Could be this spring. Not much tension on this spring. And granted, this is a Windows 95 startup disk. And this is a 286 system, so that might have a lot to do with it. So let me go find another disk. I think we're on to something now. This might be a 720K only drive because I shoved a 720K disk in there. And it does not have the 1.4 megabyte on the tab. So I wonder if this is a 720K drive. That would make a lot of sense, actually. The only way to find that out is to actually check this disk and see if this is an actual boot disk. Because it may or may not be. I don't know. One way to find out is to go download the advanced diagnostic diskette for this machine and then burn it. Alright, so now I'm on my third floppy drive. I think I found a drive that works. At least it's reading my 720K disk anyways. So no matter what I tried, I could not get this one to read any disk at all. I don't know if the heads are worn out or maybe the controller chip on the drive is bad. It's really hard to say because I don't know. So that one is no count. So this one has been recapped in the past. We've already taken care of it. But yeah, the problem with this one is the spindle motor runs at all sorts of different speeds. It'll overspeed, then it'll run super slow, and then it'll stall because I think the capacitor goo has basically killed that chip. Or there's an open trace on that chip. I don't know. I'm going to have to remove it. So this gives me the same kind of errors. Disk boot error, and then it just dies. So now this third drive, which is in my collection, I don't know. It's the exact same drive that the other one is. It's literally identical. And it looks like I've already recapped it in the past because it's got ceramics in there that I've thrown in there back when I had those. This one seems to work, I think. Well, let's find out anyway. So, yeah, that's got to count up RAM again. So, give me a minute. Alright. It's trying. So here we go. Let's hit this button. Yeah. It's trying. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're running DOS 3.3. It seems to be starting up, so that's working at least. At least the double density disk is anyways. Now this is the same disk I tried in the other drive. Now this disk is the IBM Advanced Diagnostic disk, because we're going to need that, especially for formatting the hard drive that we're going to have to play with here in a minute. Yeah, that one's got some issues with being able to... Yeah. I think this has got issues with the ejector dropping down. Yeah, it's reading it. Kinda. Yeah. Alrighty then. Okay, so let's see, 4. I got the batteries already installed. Configuration of your fixed disk has been changed. Okay. It's not gonna show any fixed disk because it's not. Alright, so Alright. Let's see. What does this button do? Okay. Alright. Alright, so that thing might be alright. This one seems to be working, so I'm just going to use this drive for now. I'll tinker with the other ones later, but I need to get this in here so I can start working on the hard drive next. But before I do, I want to get in there and check the grease, because it's not wanting to seat, and that might be why. Alright, now it's time for these shenanigans. So, that drive is the N drive, which is for the 50 and not the 30. But I put the 30 circuit board in it here, right? Still has the original caps. Pretty sure that they need changed because I hear horror stories about some of these leaking. This is the original drive that this board came off of. So, for grins and shiggles, I'm going to move this board back over here. And I want to see if the diagnostic disc will see this drive and if I can low-level format it. So, here comes this shenanigans. Let's see what happens. Alright, so there's the original board onto the original drive that has the busted off ear. So here we go. See what it does? It gives me the 4 blinks. But at least it's not nearly as loud. Not nearly as loud, so that's something at least. Alright, well, I'm going to let this thing boot, and I want to see if the diagnostic disc will pick up that drive and see if it'll low-level format it, because that might be what it is, because the mark could be a bad sector now, and it won't read that. Yeah, so we'll have to see. But it could equally be possible that the heads have been damaged. Never know. So yeah, even though that's a quiet mechanism, I think we have a bad head. So it's going to be drive 1. I don't know why it wants C, because I guess DOS. And then we want to do 7 format. Not ready. I think it's got a bad head. You can kind of hear it. So if I go 1, and then C, and then 2 for seek test, hit it again, you can hear it try, and it just never becomes ready. So I think we have a bad head, and it's not the board. It's not the board. So I got the board removed off the mechanics, and I do want to point one thing out. If you look at the ribbon cable that goes to the head, there is a spot where it's dark, like a corrosion spot. So that could even be open going to the head. I don't know. But the drive never becomes ready. I don't know why it doesn't become ready. I might play with that later, but for now, let's grab the other mechanism that's making the loud, grindy bearing noise and the bad head, and see what that one does, because the head is also rubbing on that drive, right? So we'll try this one. So we know the head rubs on this drive and it's loud, but it doesn't have, actually it does right there. It's got the same thing going on. That's actually interesting to me. But yeah, so we got this one. Doesn't give me the 4 blink codes. So we'll try this one out and see what happens. Alright, so we're fired up and we're counting up RAM right now, and hopefully the diagnostics see this drive. But it does not sound good. Oh god, that thing sounds so bad. Holy crap. Wow. Alright, well, that's clearly garbage, but hey, we'll hold out hope. It's trying. It's just throwing bad sector errors, I think. Alright, so 4 setup. We'll see if it detects everything. Configuration of your fixed disk C. It says it's installed. See, run automatic configuration. Yep. Let's see. Escape. Alright, press enter to restart and activate the changes. Okay. It's got to count again. Let's see if it'll boot from it. I don't know what's on that drive, if anything. And that drive doesn't even go to this system. It's a different board. So it may not understand the low-level formatting on it. But you know what? We'll try. Here we go. Yeah, we know. Ooh. That sounds so bad. It's trying. Nope, it gave up. Oh, well. Alright, well, I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go into the low-level formatting tools and format the disk. Well, here we go. Formatting, drive C. It's actually formatting. You can kind of hear it in there. It sounds so bad. You can hear the head grinding the platter. You know, I'm wondering if these older drives... I don't think these older drives actually had an air bearing. Because they're too slow. It could be wrong, but you never know. I guess we're going to find out. That's actually fascinating to me that it's working to some degree. Whether it will remain that is yet to be determined, but that's actually fascinating to me. The flagging of defective tracks. Format complete. Alright, 3. Surface analysis. Drive C. Yes. All defects will be shown on the display. They can also be... Is a hard copy needed? No. So here we go. This will tell me where they're all bad. Ooh boy. I guarantee that drive's got bad sectors because I can hear the head rubbing on it. I can hear it retrying. Well, I'm going to let that do its thing and I'll be back when we're done here. It's trying. Alright, so I did an unconditional format. It was giving me an error on every single cylinder, so I went ahead and tried to do a conditional format, and it just throws an ECC error. So there's a dead head on this one too, or the right amplifier is bad on that bottom circuit board. I mean, anything's possible because we're not getting any readbacks from any writes coming off that platter, which is not good. That's not good at all. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I got one more mechanism left that I can try, but my hopes are not very high. Well, we are on our third mechanical drive with the same PCB, of course. And then there's the other two just kind of over there. So is third time a charm or no? Oh, God. No, it is not. That's done. So I do not have a functional hard drive. So yeah, that one's done too. Damn it. Yeah, you know what? I think these platters are starting to break down from uh what do you call that? Oxidation of the aluminum. Cause look, you can see it in the reflection. That is literally the platter itself breaking down. That's why it's not working. That's why all these drives are junk, because we're losing the platters from oxidation corrosion. You can see the debris inside. Look at that. There's your problem. This is a fruitless effort. It's never going to work. Yeah, I almost wonder if it's in proper storage conditions because I just took that platter off. Look at the platter below it. So bad. But the debris won't settle on the bottom of the drive, so that looks clean because it sits in there like that. So, yeah, that is fucked. Yeah. Well, that's an issue. Oh, well. Just pulled the bottom platter out. Yeah. You can see the powder remnants. I'm starting to wonder if it's an age-related thing from bad storage conditions. Like, maybe the recording material and the platter have like a bad chemical reaction and it causes this, which gets caught in between the head. And obviously, when the heads run, it destroys the platter, of course, and the heads in the process. But I wonder if it's because I almost wonder if it's like LCD vinegar syndrome or something. There's some kind of a weird breakdown. And there you go. Regardless, it's dead because I got 3 of these drives doing the same thing, but this one being the worst. Here's the next thing, the heads. So the heads are supposed to be polished like that, right? So it can ride the platter. But instead we got that. So the head is absolutely trashed from the debris that was on the platter. So that, my friends, just like this head there. How does that head look? That is totally just, it's gone. So, yep. That's the problem. Platter destroyed the heads. So, it's scrap. Oh, and here's another problem. This head bearing, it's super stiff too. I can barely turn it. And it wants to, yeah. That's not helping matters either. Especially on the other drives, because I'm wondering if the other drives, the reason why I'm having seek errors and weird things like that is because of this stupid stiff bearing. That's not helping. Drive number 2, and it's literally like platter rot because you can see it's bubbling up, and it catches the head, which gets on the head and it scratches the disc, right? So that one won't initialize either because the scratch is literally in track 0, so it never becomes ready. So yes, that drive's done because of platter rot, I'm going to assume, just like the other drive. So this is drive number 2. Also, junk. That sucks. And this is the one that was trying to work in format. Now look, same problem. It's got platter rot. Yep. So that's what's happening to these. The platters are falling apart. That's unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. So every single one of these drives are going to suffer that fate. And the only way to fix it would be to turn down the platter before the heads get damaged and recode it. But then that doesn't help you if the microcontroller needs something stored on the platter for it to initialize. So you'd have to like do something custom with the firmware and lay down a I don't know how we would do this. I really don't know. I don't know if this is possible to save. So I think my hopes of trying to get an original machine is being dashed because of this problem right here. Oh yeah, I can see it just kind of like speckles all over the platter. It's done. It's junk. There you go. It's shot. Pulled the platters out of this one, which was trying to format. There you go. They're done. Never gonna work again. That's why it wouldn't format. Oh well. That makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? Alright, so I just realized something with these drives. Even if I were to recoat the platter, there's really no way to low level format them because take a look around. There's no track 0 sensor. It's depending on finding track 0 on the platter to know where track 0 is. So you can't, and it's sitting here over and over and over again because I got the format tool. It's looking for track 0 and it can't find it because, well, it's a different platter, but not only that, it's got to be reformatted from the straight out. But it can't be because it can't find track 0 because, yeah, these drives don't have a track 0 sensor. That's why, I mean, the older like Seagates do, so you can always reformat those, but these you can't. That explains why. So, platter rot, junk, nothing we can do about it. We'd have to have like specialized firmware to lay down a new track 0 once we determine where we want that to be manually. So anyways, we're going to need a plan B because that is not going to work.